Today we're going to go over collage, and like I was telling a couple of guys earlier, we're going to do more of a mile high approach, just so that we can show some key features in collage that a lot of people overlook. My name is Andy Huntley. I'm the Scanning Technology Sales Manager for Topcon Positioning. I've been doing some kind of positioning, scanning, drone work for over 10 years now. Been a part of a couple of different committees with the ASCC for concrete laser scanning, where we did a workshop, and that was a bunch of us there. Today, like I said, we are going to go over collage. Last week we went over Verity, which was very helpful. It's the end part of our process. Now we're going to look at the middle part, the beginning part of the office side, basically. Here's our agenda. I want to show you guys how to set up a project, make it where it's easy and it's one-stop shop for everything. Process our scan data. Basically, how can we help get rid of the noise out of the scan data? And then we're going to go over the tools, like I just said earlier, basically creating distances, creating points, polylines, polygons, things like that. And then the next thing is the most valuable, best ways to export the data. Let's go ahead and jump into Collage. Well, before we go into Collage, let's actually look at the data. What my best practice I've always done, and I've seen other companies do this, and I thought about it and it works really well, is I will go in and create a file structure for each project. And inside that file structure, I'll have a couple of different folders that I'll just automatically create on myself in File Explorer. One is going to be, I always call raw, and that's going to be where I take my data and store it. The next one I will always create is export. When I export the data, I want all the data to be housed there. And then a third folder I'll create is called data. It's just if I want to bring over like CAD files, different things like that for this project, I'll put it there. So like I said, it's one-stop shop. So you notice here I have the SD card file pulled up and it has Office. Well, in raw, I went ahead and moved the Office scan, copied and pasted it right over. Now I can go ahead and delete it off my SD card if I want, or I can leave it there. So if I'm running like a 32 gig SD card with our Topcon scanners, 32 gigs, I can store hundreds of projects, it seems like, because our file sizes are tiny compared to other manufacturers that have larger file sizes. So with that one being done, I have all my file structure set up like I like. You notice there's this COL file. The COL file is my magnet collage file, which kind of like movie magic, we went ahead and brought the data in and processed it, because nobody likes to sit here and watch a computer bring data in and process. But what I do want to go over is when I create a new project, I'll go to Workspace and hit New. And as soon as I create it, I'll come back and do a Save As. The reason I do that is Magnet Collage has an auto saving functionality where you can set it up every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, depending on how critical your project is. So once we have that done, I have it saved as, you'll have this pop up, your workspace with the project name. And then from there, we go into File, Data, Add Existing Projects. We'll get our scanning station popped in once we locate those files. Okay. So, like I said, movie magic, we went ahead, processed the scan. But when we want to go into process, this is our processing window. From here, you see the big start bar. A lot of times you can bring your data in if you're in a real fire hurry to get everything done. You just push the big start button and you're good to go. A lot of times though, if you want to get rid of some of that noise, because you notice, hey, once I process it, I got a little bit of noise, we can go in here and change it to like a medium filter level, or we can smoothen out our scan. So if I want to smooth it out, I just hit start and it'll start processing it. Like I said, we're in a time constraint, so I don't want to waste everybody's time just smoothing out scans. But this is how we can smooth it out. So I'm going to hit close. Once I start the scan, hit close. In your taskbar, you'll see the scans start going. In this case, all 4 of my scans have come in, and they're processed out. The beautiful thing with our TopCon systems, our scanners, if we set up over known points or we resection, we don't have to do a registration. It's doing what a lot of people call a live registration. So here is an office building that we scanned with the GTL. Another tip I do like to use, let you guys know, is the intensity levels. Part of the reason I like the intensity over other features is if I go to grayscale, it looks good, but you start losing data out here that is there, but it just not pulling a good color to it. For example, these blue. You can also do images. Images look really good as well, as long as they're not like direct sunlight and the sun's beating right down on the camera. So that's why I like the intensity. All right. So we've got our scans brought in. We've got a file structure. Everything's good. What can I do with this data? Pull some quick measurements, create some points, things like that. Well, up here at the top, you notice there's a tool called Tools. And right here in the very center, you see the primitives. I can do points where if I want to go in and create a bunch of points off my point cloud, I can easily do that, just like so. A window pops up, and then I just say, what are my points going to be? Title. So I can say scan -001 to start with, and then I just start creating points right on the building itself, and it'll keep stepping up with the number settings. If I want to come down here and hit the retaining wall, I can do wall 001 point. And since this wall has got a curvature to it, we're just going to collect a bunch of points down the wall. So these are some nice key features that I found surveyors love, because a lot of times or even in construction, when we're doing our as-builts and we're taking those shots with our total station or our GPS, we always forget something. This allows us to go in and just easily create those points right on the scan point. So they have the X, Y, and Z to them. And if I want to get really tight with those points, I can come in here and just click on the corner. So there's the point feature. The next one that's very useful is going to be distance. A lot of times people don't want to sit there and send these point clouds straight into like an Autodesk or a Bentley product just to pull measurements. They want to be able to go in and say, hey, how tall are these windows? So I click on the distance tab, and I can pull a quick measurement just like that. And the windows are 2¼ feet tall. If I want to see about how long the driveway is, click. Well, let's get out from the trees. And there we go. So with the distance measuring tool, I get the length, the horizontal length, the vertical length. So how much of an elevation change is there, plus a grade. This is very useful if I was going to do a bunch of ADA ramps or things like that, where I needed to know how much of an elevation change was there in a horizontal distance. And then that would give me my grade, because all the ADA ramps are required to meet a certain spec. Well, right here, it tells me exactly all the info I need. Either I'm going to be in compliance or I'm going to be out of compliance. Next, let's look at the polylines. So what's really cool with the polylines is these are all going to be featuring, or they're going to hold on to the elevation of the point. So they're not just horizontal line work, it's also vertical line work. So if I want to come in and basically draw out this retaining wall, it's going to snap every point to the point cloud. And then from there, let me turn off all my scans so that you can see the line. How it's actually tied to elevation. So we could do a lot just in Collage alone. If I was going to do a complete as-built topo of a project or a subdivision or a house for a title survey, I could come in and do a majority of my work right in Collage. And it takes no time at all, as you guys have seen. So that's our polylines. Next, let's look at the polygons. With polygon feature, what we can do is come in here. And I'm going to try to get as close to the bottom of that corner of the building as possible, but not going to be able to. But I can come in, click there, that corner. I'm in here. We're going to try to keep the same elevation. Keep that corner. That corner. And here. It flipped on me. Give me a second. Let's delete that out. Helps if you go all the way around and in the same direction and not cross it like I just did. There. So now I have the footprint of the building. Well, let's turn on my polylines and my polygon, and we'll turn off the point cloud. And if I was to spend a little bit more time with this, what you'll start seeing is more of a title survey. I've got a house pad. I've got sidewalks or drive access, retaining wall if I wanted to draw it out even better. So from this point here, these 4 functionalities right there, everybody could easily use. And then we can turn around, click on the primitives. Sorry, click up here, and we can hit export CAD primitives. We'll choose where we want to put all our data at. Like I said, I like to dump everything in the data folder. And so we'll say CAD lines. Okay. And it will go ahead and export that. Done. The next thing is since I'm now done drawing all my points and I have my whole entire point cloud, I want to bring these point clouds also into a AutoCAD extension. But before I do all of that, I notice I have a lot of extra stuff going around my building. So let's come in and clean up what I don't need. Invert, delete. So now I have a product that I can turn around, dump right into CAD, and make it where majority of my work is done already. So click export. And just like I told you earlier, I like to put all my data in the same folder, one-stop shop. And then here's my export. From here, we choose what kind of file extensions are we going to want to export into. So I'm going to hit scan. And then there are 2 file formats I always like to export. It's the LAS file format and this RCS file format. The biggest reason I like those 2 is Autodesk is a universal software. Everybody pretty much has it. But on the backside, drones are starting to become a very big thing in construction, surveying, and doing topos and creating point clouds from the drones, which all export in an LAS file. So if you already have a workflow with LAS files, I can export an LAS and our data will tie directly into your whole drone program. We keep all our data registered. Do not recommend clicking unregistered because then your points could wind up all over the place and you don't make the pretty little picture. Export in whichever units that you normally would use and then your angle units that you like to use. Hit OK. You'll see everything starting to be registered and exported. So while that's going, we're going to go into Autodesk. Never close this black box. You will corrupt your data some way or it won't process. That's the biggest tip I can give you when exporting out our point clouds. All right, so Autodesk is open. We're going to basically create a new project. But let's actually go open that first project. Open. And you notice here's my CAD lines. We'll do a zoom extent. I have the building pad now, and I have the location of that retaining wall. And everything is on a 3D platform. We'll check Collage out real quick. All right, so our point clouds are exporting into a file format that we can use. All right, so I told you the export functionality. I like to do the RCS files. And here's part of the reason why. I'm going to drag them. I say I'm going to drag them and drop them in, but they don't want to play that way today. We'll let them finish up, seeing if Collage is locking them up on me. Which it looks like it is. So we'll see if we can bring, nope. All right, so I gotta give it a minute to let it go in. Let's see if I can get them to go in now. There they go. Specify your point of interest. Enter, 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 and there they go. So I'll do this for every one of these RCS files. The other thing I will say, I do like to keep the point clouds separated as best as possible, because some computers cannot handle a larger point cloud, where others computers, people have spent thousands of dollars and got the top of the line computer. So at this point, now you can see our point cloud is in, and so is our line work. At this point, does anybody have any questions?
Hey, Andy, it looks like you have a question in the chat box there. What does the LHGV designation stand for?
LHGV. What this is the abbreviations for when you pull a measurement from one point to another. The L is your slope distance. The H is your horizontal distance. The V is your vertical distance. And the G is going to be your grade, your slope grade. Any questions? So with that being said, I will say that pretty much concludes today's webinar. About 30 minutes time. And at this point, with Collage, we've gone in, we've created some functionality pieces, and then turned around and exported it into an Autodesk platform. And if you want to know more about this product, different things like that, please feel free to reach out to either myself or any of our TopCon representatives, and we'll be more than glad to assist you. With that, that's it. Thank you, guys.